Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of For the Thrill Sports Cards and Memorabilia. My name is Braden, and today's another segment of Memorabilia Monday. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the different types of memorabilia that you can collect. We're going to talk about some of the more obscure things and some more of the more common stuff. So let's go ahead and get into it. Alright guys, like I said, I'm going to be talking about the different things that you can collect. There's so many different things, so I'm just going to touch about some of the more obscure things that I've seen that aren't as common, as well as some of the most common stuff. So of the common stuff that people collect, so we've got here, a lot of people collect balls or other equipment, so like in baseball, bats, but most common things that people collect would be the balls. They are the most accessible, in my opinion, to obtain. They are usually on the lesser expensive side. They are easier to obtain because you can go to your local Walmart and get just about any sports ball. You can go to a local sporting goods store, get a little bit higher end of those items. They're just easily obtainable, so they're an easier thing to get autographed, and a more common thing to have in your collection. Another item that I feel is fairly common, and that would be jerseys. Again, jerseys are usually something that you can get at your local fan shop. Those are things that you can find more easily. You know, they're a fairly common thing to have memorabilia of. And then to get into some of the a little more obscure things, but also things to collect. So like in sports such as hockey and football and baseball that have helmets, something you can do. This one I do not have signed. I bought it to hold for when I can find a signing event. Also, they're the local hockey team. Got to support the local teams. But this is an example of a mini helmet. That's something that a lot of people would like to collect, are the mini helmets, because they are small, they're compact. You can get a bunch of them. They don't take up a lot of space. So that's something that to consider when you're going to get memorabilia, the space that you have. So like jerseys take up a lot of wall space. And if you don't display them, like they take up a lot of closet space, depending on how many you have. And then like balls, depending on the size of the ball, they can take up a lot of space. Like the baseballs, they don't take up a lot of space. But when you get into some of the other balls like basketballs and footballs, they are much larger and they do take up more space. So when you go to collect, knowing your space, it would help you in determining what you want to collect. But mini helmets, you also have full-size helmets in football and baseball and hockey. The sports that do have helmets, they do have full size. Other things people like, I don't have any of this item, are shoes. That is a more obscure specialty item that a lot of people like to collect, are the shoes signed by the athletes or celebrities. When you're doing musicians, a lot of people like to get guitars or records signed by the musician. So there's a bunch of different things that are specific to their profession. Another thing that I see often, again, this is something I don't have signed. Another item that I found at a good deal that I bought just in case I come by any of the private signings for this particular athlete, are Funko Pops. A lot of people collect them without the autographs, as is. They're a good collectible item. But, that's another small item that's kind of a little more obscure. You can find those a little less expensive than some of the more common items, such as baseballs or or basketballs or jerseys. These are a little less expensive, but again, it's something small, something a little bit different if you want to collect something a little bit different. And then another thing that I have are like bobbleheads. A lot of people will collect the obscure stuff that aren't as common, such as bobbleheads. I got this one signed by Javier Morales. This was a season ticket holder gift that one year, and when they're handing these out, he was signing autographs, so I was able to get him to sign that box there. So that's a little more of the obscure side. Something that's a little more common but takes up a lot less space would be autograph photos. That's fairly common when it comes to collecting are the photos. So that's something that if you, and they are again a little less expensive than other things to get. Like when you go to purchase one to get it sent in and signed, they are fairly inexpensive. Sorry, excuse me. They're fairly inexpensive to purchase. Again, when you send it in to be autographed, usually on the private signings they charge less for the photos than they do other items. So that is a smaller item and something that's a little less expensive to get autographed to collect. So that's another option. Some things that I have that aren't very common that I got signed because I was a season ticket holder at my of my soccer team when I lived in the Utah area. Something I got signed just to be different was this cool looking flag. I just wanted to be different. Not very many people have an autograph flag, and so I decided I'm going to do the flag. Again, I had other opportunities, and I was like, I have jerseys, I have a lot of balls. Like, what else can I get signed? I found this sign, this little plaque type thing, and just in one of the meet the players events that they had, like, well, I want to get something signed. This was fairly inexpensive. It was something different, so I went ahead and got it signed just to have something different. Because I have a lot of jerseys, I have a lot of balls, I have a lot of photos, so I wanted something different. And then when it comes to sports, like I said, a lot of people get balls, but like in football and most sports, there are some specialty items. So this is something that I have that's a little bit different. It's a Lawrence Taylor signed pylon. So again, that is something different that most people don't collect. But if you want to have something that isn't very common, pylons are a good way to start and have something different. So when it comes to autographs, the collecting, I would say stick to a common theme if you'd like to save on money. What I typically do when I collect is I collect my favorite players, my favorite teams, it's stuff like that. So I try to keep it to what I like. But again, you could go favorite players, favorite teams. You can collect just jerseys. You can collect random specialty items such as shoes or pylons, or you could collect mini helmets if you don't have a lot of space. It is just whatever you feel like collecting, but if you're getting into it, I would recommend sticking to a theme like jerseys or balls or specialty items such as Funko Pops or the pylons or whatever you want to get into. But when you're first starting out, I highly recommend kind of honing it into a specific thing. That way you aren't spending a lot of money going all over the place. Like when I first started collecting, I really was all over the place. Like I was like, oh, I'm gonna do some balls, I'm gonna do photos, I'm gonna do jerseys. I couldn't decide what I wanted to do, and so it kind of got expensive. Like, well, today I'm gonna do jerseys and I'm gonna do authentic jerseys because, and those get expensive. And then the next day it's like, well, I don't have balls, so I'm gonna go ahead and get some balls signed. And then it was like, well, I don't have any photos. I'm gonna go get photos signed. So I was just circling through a whole bunch of different stuff, and it's like, well, I gotta hone it in because it's getting expensive. Going from getting the balls, getting the jerseys, getting the photos, and it just kind of adds up real fast. And me now, since I have a lot of jerseys, I'm going for some of those more different items that I haven't gotten. Like I started going with that plaque, that flag, different things that were a little less common, just to have something different in my collection. Nowadays, I'm going more for the helmets, whether it be mini helmet, full size helmet. I'm more interested in getting helmets or balls that are not soccer, such as footballs or basketballs. I don't have any basketballs when it comes to my personal collection, so I do kind of look at those to find a good price on them. But again, when you're going to collect, find a theme that you want to do, whether it be your favorite player, just your favorite player, or your favorite team. Just find something to kind of hone your collection in, and then once you get some space or start saving up, broaden your collection a little bit. Like I said, a lot of people collect the helmets, the jerseys, photos, uh, balls of the sport that they collect, or of all the sports. Those are some common, easy things to obtain. But again, just when you go to collect what you want. But like I said, I recommend kind of keeping it small to one specific thing, whether it be the player, a team, or just balls, or just photos, or just jerseys. That way you can have it just be a lot less expensive, and just be a little more clean and not so scatterbrained like my collection ended up getting at one point. So again, go ahead, and when you're getting into collection, and whether it be celebrities or sports, go ahead and find something that you want to collect. Like when it comes to musicians, get your CD signed, find some vinyl, get it signed, do photos, posters, whatever you want to collect of that musician, of the musicians you like. Or when it comes to celebrities, movie props are something that people go for. Sign movie props. A lot of the time people go for something like the photos or sign movie posters. Again, there's so many different things that people can get signed that may be of interest to you. So go ahead and just find what interests you, find what is a good price for you, and go ahead and just collect what you like. And again, stay within your budget, stay with what you can afford, stay within your space that you have. Like if you live in an apartment and can't put stuff on and shouldn't put stuff on the wall, stick to something like the helmets or CDs when it comes to athletes, to musicians, that you can kind of put in a little on like a dresser or something like that, like a shelf. Stuff like, be aware of your space, be aware of what you can do. Like, I'm currently in an apartment, so I don't have any of my jerseys displayed, because there's a lot of jerseys. That's a lot of holes in the wall. There's a lot to patch up. You know, I just didn't want to do that because I also don't have a lot of space to hang that kind of stuff up. But I am moving, and so in my new place, I'm gonna have my jerseys up on the wall because I'm gonna own the place. I'm gonna have it more decked out. I'm gonna have it more of how I like it, and like I said, I'm gonna have more space. So depending on your space, depending on your living situation, collect stuff that is smaller, stuff that you can put on a shelf. Collect stuff that goes on a wall if you have a lot of wall space and you own your place. Again, choose what you like, what you want to collect, according to your budget, your space, your living situation, whether you own or you rent. Go ahead and just choose what you want to collect. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this episode of For the Thrill of Sports Cards and Memorabilia. I hope you guys found this information about collecting, the items to collect, to be of value. Again, I hope you guys, when you start your collection, or if you already have a collection and just kind of want to grow your collection and have something different, I hope you found some of these more obscure items of something of interest, or some of the more common items to think about to start your collection. Again, thank you guys so much for your support. If you like this content, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to this channel, hit that bell for notifications. And guys, thank you again so much. I greatly appreciate your support. Remember to stay amazing, live life to the fullest, be true to yourself, and I'll see you guys next time.